Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Starseed Jason Moss. Thank you very much for coming to this video today. Just one thing I'm going to have to tell you about here. Through experiences in my childhood, I remember with my mother in the 1970s, we were being taken by various civilizations and races at the time, which were causing a great deal of harm and at times scaring and frightening my mother and myself. These experiences were ongoing and continuous, and they often caused a great deal of trauma and issues with my mother and myself. The experiences, for the most part, in that time in my life, came to an end rather abruptly. The experience came to an end rather abruptly in that time period in my life. Though some of these regressive types of experiences, these negative experiences, would continue in the 1980s. Some of them would continue. But I'd like to talk about an experience I had. Mother and I were taken aboard a craft in which the inside of the craft had a swamp-like environment, and there were plants I'd never seen before, little hills. It was like being inside of an aquarium. There was water in there, there was dirt on the floor, there was a ground, and she was lying on something like a table. There were windows around this room of this aquarium or terrarium. It was like being inside of a terrarium. And a little being about 3 feet tall, a female, being amphibian in nature, was harsh with Mother, but was okay with me. She seemed to connect to me pretty nicely. And when my mother protested or tried to move, she was harsh with her again. Now, as traumatic as some of these experiences were at the time, I then remember my mother and I were welcomed aboard a craft. We had been taken by many aggressive races at this time, and some good ones at the time. The Sasani, I believe, took us at one point, and the experience was very dignified and rational, and extremely thoughtful and loving to us. Mother and I were welcomed to the Sasani. They healed us and helped Mother. We had been taken by different races at the time, and the outcome was sometimes shock and trauma for Mother and myself. Now, Mother and I were welcomed to the Sasani. They healed us and helped Mother. We'd been taken by many aggressive races at this time in the 1970s, though some of the encounters were good. The outcome was shock and trauma for Mom with the aggressive ones. As I recall, the Sasani took over and were dignified, kind and rational, and extremely thoughtful and loving to us. Sincerely kind, no lies. We knew this. They were law-abiding and seemed to want to clean up all the messes that were created by the other races that were going on here at this time. Policing the planet is what they said to us. The being said to my mother, she said, "You are having this experience due to negative experiences for which you have had in the past. You will share this love and unification with us at this time in harmony and dignity. We welcome you to the Sasani." And we were aboard a triangular craft. As I recall, there were human soldiers aboard this craft, but they weren't allowed to interact with us. And we were brought aboard this vehicle. And Mother was at first terrified and shocked, and then they calmed her and said everything's going to be okay. You're not a prisoner or captive here. You're free to go anytime. But we need to heal your problems and your issues that you have suffered with through your experiences with the regressive ones in the past. I believe they told me that I would continue to have some of these issues with the regressive ones in the near future, and I did so in the 1980s. But this was another matter. As my memories resurfaced in 1992, I had seen what I believe was my future self interacting with soldiers in the street one night. And as I said in videos in the past, that I saw myself wearing a uniform of some kind. And I remember the commander, the colonel, or the human man, was aggressive with my future self as I was 20, and I witnessed this, and he said something like, "You come back here and you're wearing in that uniform." He didn't like the uniform I was wearing. The information I have received recently from the PSB-7 box and from my own connections, as I'm a current ongoing contactee and listen to my intuition regularly, I have heard the message, now it has been revealed to me, that I am working in and will be working in the program you know as Project Solar Warden, but I'm not working with any government on this planet, only with the Sasani, and that I am actively working in Solar Warden somewhere in the near future at this point in time, as I understand it. It's the information I've received is both that it's happening and it will be happening. The information I received, as I say again, is from my current connections and intuition I've received and the ETs I talked to, the Sasani, and from the PSB-7 box you will hear on this clip. Thank you very much for listening. Peace and love and unity to you all.
Am I going to be working in Project Solar Warden?